Good morning, Rabbi Isai. Nishmat Simi Rasirus Bas Mordechai Freilchen like Boimer Hayoim Shloishim Yoim Sheim Arba'o Shavuos v'Chamisha Yomim Lo Oimer and Boimer. Like Boimer belongs to the Hasidim. Yeah. So we had a nace yesterday. Last night they lit meduras everywhere around the neighborhood, and right in front of the basement there's a big band with hundreds of people. And shir starts about 9:05. I'm coming into shir and I'm thinking to myself, this is impossible. It's impossible to give a shir when there's giant speakers right toward the windows and there's hundreds of people singing. How do you give a shir like that? Especially me with my sound sensitivities. So I'm walking to shir and all of a sudden, I'm not going to imitate it, but a siren. Incoming missile from Yemen. People scattered like you can't even believe. They took down the speakers. They ran in, and we started the shir, and it was beautiful. There was no noise. It was everything. It's mamish and neis nigla. The boy said, "This is Bnei Brak. This is the picture I was looking for." There was a picture of over 20-something people in Bnei Brak. Here we go. This Ari Simon was getting a haircut yesterday. According to Moshe, you're allowed to get a haircut already from last night. So here, the guy. If you look closely, they have a screen over there, and the shir is up on the screen. Today's breakfast is sponsored by Reb Nachman Seltzer, Lida Nishma, Satana Lika, J.ב.P, Kedoshei Miron, and Avi Mandelbaum. By Shimi Braun, from Borough Park Matzes, L'Reged Holadat Habat, L'Chvoid Hilula de J.b.P, Yaakov Strauss in honor of his enlistment, Benjamin Baturo for an easy and safe delivery for his wife. So this is from Shimi Braun. Baruch Hashem, my house had a healthy baby girl. Approximately 2.5 years ago, Rebbe founded the monthly sponsorship, and I took upon myself Bili Shvua to give for each kid one day, $1 a day. That's $30 a month per kid. Then when my boy was born, I added $30. This time around, we started to give $30 during the pregnancy. And everything went smoothly, Baruch Hashem, and our baby girl was born with a lot of schus of Limud HaTorah and Chizuk HaTorah, Shimi Braun, Shoshana Daf Beis. P.S. Last time I was by Rebbe in the MDY headquarters was hashtag, it's backwards over here, but it says hashtag, I think, Mendy Birevach, and hashtag 9 months later from Elul. He was here in Elul, and 9 months later he had a baby girl. You don't even need a bracha, you just need to come to MDY, and everything is Mesudar. Rabbi said, you know what? I'm gonna skip around some videos because I got a unbelievable video right before I came in, but it's kind of long. It's like 3 minutes, and I think the Olam is gonna enjoy it a lot. I'm gonna skip around here. Be'ezer Hashem. Here's a bacher that he's a truck mechanic in Kiryas Yoel. He joined. He did when he was 19. He did 1,200 daf gemara, but then he stopped learning, and he loves MDY. Kiryas Yoel. He's a truck mechanic. And here, he was on a trip with the chaver from Kiryas Yoel, and they're watching this year together on vacation. I'm going to have to go back to this email. Be'ezer Hashem. Here's the video. We heard about this, I'm pretty sure Rabbi Shapiro told us about this individual, and we wanted him actually to come to the Shabbaton, but it didn't work out. And Steve Seychelles just sent me this video this morning, and I opened it up. I thought it was very, very emotional. It's very long, and he talks about he had a certain injury, I think with his hand or whatever, and he has pain medication. He's under a lot of pain. Surgery, I don't know the whole story exactly right now, but something to that effect. And this pain medication makes him like, he's just not with it. And he knows, if he stops taking the medication, he's in a lot of pain. If he takes the medication, then mentally he's not there. And here goes the video.
And still you might be wondering, what does any of this have to do with Daf Yomi? I'm about to tell you how doing the daf literally, not figuratively, literally saved my life. And this is the reason I'm standing before you today. Let me explain. Roughly 151 days ago, around midnight or 1 a.m., I was having an especially difficult night. I was mamish ready to throw in the towel and leave this world. I felt like I had no fight left in me. In desperation, I made a phone call. Baruch Hashem, someone in this room, who I affectionately refer to as Padre, answered. He listened to me, validated my feelings, and reminded me again that it wasn't me, it was the medication. And then he made an outrageous suggestion. He said if the most difficult hours are between midnight and 1 a.m., and you're not sleeping anyway, why not go on YouTube and look up Eli Stefansky's Gemara share? At first I thought he was crazy, but he continued. Listen, if the problem is you can't sleep and you're struggling with intrusive thoughts, then one of two things will happen. You'll turn on the share and your Yitzhar will take over and you'll finally fall asleep. Or you'll get so engaged you'll actually enjoy it, and for 45 to 50 minutes, you'll have some peace of mind. Either way, it's a win-win. He told me about the free Gemara program, and eventually I agreed to give it a shot. I looked up the first share of Bava Basra, and to my surprise, I made it through the entire share, and I actually enjoyed it. But there's a problem. Stefansky was already up to Daf 24. However, anyone who knows MDY knows Rav Eli's mantra. It's not about the Daf, it's about the Yomi. Don't look back, just keep moving forward. And that's what I did. A week later, I received my free Gemara, and I was hooked. When I told my brother Matthew, who, by the way, is set to finish Shabbos this coming year of Pesach, what I was doing, he sympathized with my challenges, but immediately said, "You idiot, you only need to make up 24 daf, and it's mostly stories anyway. Go on YouTube, put it on 2 times speed, and by Hanukkah you can be making your first siyum. And if you continue, you can finish us before you're 40. So that's exactly what I did. Anytime I had downtime, whether waiting in the doctor's office, or at a buffet in a restaurant, or sitting in the dentist's office, or on my way to and from doctor's appointments, I did the daf. Eventually I was fully caught up. Now I can't imagine ending my day, no matter how late it is, without doing the daf with MDY. If you don't believe me, you can ask the Rosh Kollel himself. I've sent him texts at 2 or 3 a.m., letting him know, daf whatever, done. Just last night at 1:40 a.m. I texted him, daf 175, done. So yes, Daf Yomi and MDY saved my life. And I'm living proof that if I can do the daf and make a siyum on the largest Masechta in Shas, again, go big or go home, then anyone can. There's no excuse not to.
I think it's amazing. His first siyum ever on Bava Basra
tonight.
Yivaldik, unbelievable. You should have a refuah shleima. Should finish shots with us. Rabbi says Sunday morning, 7 of us, I think, are flying to Africa from here. So Shachris, we're changing the time schedule a little bit. Shachris is when? We're davening 5:30, and the shear, the live shear, is at 6:10, depending who's davening for the Amud. And then we're going to show the shear again at 7:10, and there'll be another Shachris at 8, whatever. So again, 5:30 Shachris. We need like 3 people to join us. Hopefully, Moshe Aron Horn. Who else? You could, okay. Gishmak, okay, thank you very much. So we have a minyan and Rabbi Schoenberg, and it's going to be Vesikin, and that's that. And Be'ezer Hashem, we're going to work hard that the shiurim should be in the Beis Medrash every day on time. We have pretty decent internet, we found out, so we should be okay. Shalom Aleichem, what's your name? Binyamin what?
Azrael.
From? Montreal. Shalom Aleichem. You doing the daf with us? For how long?
Since the beginning of Sanhedrin.
Ooh, that's very chashuv. Thank you for coming. You, I know. What's your name, though? Y.b.P. Sternberg. I heard, Mendy told me, that you flew in just to be by Rashbi. And at 4 o'clock in the morning, your Milo is about to light, and he looks, that's the highlight. He says, if I don't leave now, I'm going to miss the shear. So he booked out of there, and he missed the Hatzlacha. It's unbelievable. Flew in for that. But you got a tefillah there? You got the tefillah in? Okay, that's the ikir. Where are we holding? Why is this here? The Masechta sponsor, anonymous. Hatzlacha, bruchnius, Monthly sponsor Leah Nishmat Zechariah ben Moshe Nishmat Zechariah bas Yosef Parnasa Birevach Baruch Tzvi Nissim ben Shoshana Leah. Jeff's Gourmet, Los Angeles. By the way, the person that sat in this seat yesterday, Eli Stefansky, after shir told me one of the craziest stories, and I asked him to come back to shir, so he promised me. He came last night to tell me that he's coming. He came into my house and we schmoozed for a long time. He has something amazing to say, and Be'ezer Hashem, he's going to say it live here tomorrow night in both shiurim, English and Hebrew. Hopefully he makes it back from Iran. He's going to leave Mamish Motzei Shabbos and try to be here. Moshe Aron Miriam Landy, kedai to be here to hear it. For Hatzlacha of all our children. ActualEyes, in honor of David, Duvie, Merkin of Eastern Union, all the Silver Spring daffers, weekly sponsors, י.ב.פ, Shaindel, Yחיאל, מיכל, and Yaarzeit, like בעומר, לעצלחה בכל העניינים. Anonymous, לעצלחה, bruchnius begashmis l'chol mishpacha. Leah Nishmas, listen to this, Rabbi Yisai. Leah Nishmas, our dear son, Chaim ben Kalman Shlomo Rak, on his 4th Yaarzeit, and the 44 other. Doishem Miron. Anonymous, l'chvoid Rashbi, l'chvoid Rebelli Shlita, l'chvoid aloimdim mishpachas Kirshner Genot, l'chol loimdim beis midrashenu. Shkoyach. Anonymous, l'schus atana likai. Rashbi, l'schus, י.ב.פ, she pocket b'zerach shekal yomo amein. Anonymous, happy birthday, Chaim Miller. Your dedication to the Daf is truly amazing. Love your family. Anonymous, in memory of the Hayeled, Uriel Zechariah Baruch, mentioned on Shevuos Daf J.ב.Beis, Lahavdol and Chaim, to give chizuk to his dear father. He wrote me an email, this individual, but I couldn't read it this morning because of this. Maybe we'll have to read it a different time. Anonymous, Yishkoyach for the chizuk, to give Uriel's that 3-year-old that drowned. Anonymous, the Rosh Koilel that lost it because, and a lot more. His whole family, everything is that's what happens a lot. In honor of Eli Stefansky, here, this guy that I told you is coming. I found him through his status. Sanhedrin Kuvav, Hillside, New Jersey. Listen to this. Who brought Eli Stefansky? Landy. And Eli Stefansky brought people. Sanhedrin of Kuvav. This is an anacle of Landy, Hillside, New Jersey. Anonymous, l'schus for shidduch for my son, Matisyo ben Anat. Amen. Anonymous, Leah Nishmas, Rashbi, l'schus nachas. Nachas the Kedusha, Vashirus Rav. Tremendous success in all my endeavors. MDY monthly. Schos, the kids monthly. Schos for official Chonan Akiva, Rivki, Mrs. Stefansky, out of the mother, for Shlema, Yonatan Edim Avesheva, for Schos for rebellion, the whole MDY staff to continue to make Torah so many, in honor of Yossi Klein and Mark Ashkenazi for all the work they do. What time did we start? We started shtickle late. Okay. Rabbi said real quickly, this is going to get to Shevuos, a question. Only one person got the answer last night in the Hebrew. Let's see if we can do a little better. Coming up on Shevuos, the Ramah talks about that one should purchase a certain type of challah for Shevuos. What type of challah should you buy on Shevuos? What type of challah? What is it made of? Milchik, raisin, cinnamon. What kind of challah? That's the answer. Okay, one guy got it. Anybody want to take a chance? Another one? The Omer, but you're close because the Omer is Sairim. But the Shtei Halechem, the 2 breads of Shevuos, are made out of wheat, and therefore the Ramah says all your challah should be wheat and not any sort of other stuff. I think it's the Ramah. Who says Im Shabru? Yeah.
Who says it?
And the Ramah doesn't?
Oh boy.
Go look it up now. You have Mishabra on your phone. Yeah. B'derech klal. He's right. Okay. Zokt the Gemara. We're holding Daf Yud Aleph Amud Beis all the way in the bottom. This is the Mishnah. You don't have to look into the Mishnah if you don't want to. You could. It says like this. If you want to add to Yerushalayim or to the Azara or to that already.
Yeah.
Mr. Brewer brings the Ramah. If you want,
No.
you want to add to the city or the Azara, the only way to do it is with a king, a Navi, Urim v'Tumim, Sanhedrin, Shtei Toidos, and you have all the instruments. Okay, there's a whole list of things here. Says the Gemara, we know Shimi Bar Chiyah, Da'amar Krok, Echala Shinimaro Yitzchak. Gourmet tells Moshe Rabbeinu, just like I showed you, Eistavnis HaMishkan, Veistavnis Kol Kelov, V'chein. Where are we?
Boy Rabbi Yirmiyah.
י.ב.פ, really?
Yeah.
Oh, you're right. Yeah. Boy Rabbi Yirmiyah. Ben Bava Shalal Eretz Yisrael v'Nela Memeno Mokim Migdash Mau. Yeah, you got it? 2, 4, 6, 8, 9 lines from the bottom. A guy that comes from Chutz La'aretz, he has no clue. He knows that the Beis HaMikdash is in Yerushalayim, but he forgot where in Yerushalayim. Is it Ramot? It's in Har Nof. Where is it? I'll leave it the man. I'll leave it the Rebbe Kiva, the boy Yediyah B'tchila. According to Rebbe Kiva, you need an awareness in the beginning. But Rebbe Kiva himself, if you remember yesterday, I said to remember Rebbe Kiva in the Mishnah, he and Rebbe Lezer hold that there's no such thing as forgetting the Beis HaMikdash. What you forget in your chayiv is forgetting Tumah, not Beis HaMikdash. So this doesn't apply to him anyway. But Rebbe Shmuel argues and says, it says V'nela v'nelam, right, all the way at the end of the Mishnah, V'nela v'nelam. It says v'nelam twice. That what? That you're chayiv even if you forget the Beis HaMikdash, you're chayiv carbon oil v'yored. According to Rebbe Shmuel, if you hold like Rebbe Kiva, you need an awareness. He doesn't hold of Mikdash. If you hold that there's an awareness in the Beis HaMikdash, you don't need an idea in the beginning. I'll leave it to Rebbe. It goes according to somebody else completely. The author of the Mishnah, Rebbe, the boy idea betchila u'mechayev al hel Mikdash. He says a combination of Rebbe Kiva and Rebbe Shmuel. You need to have an awareness in the beginning, and also he holds like Rebbe Shmuel that if you forget it's the Beis HaMikdash, you also have to bring carbon. V'omar. Yediyas Beis Rabbi, Shmo Yediyah. When something you learn in Cheder, and everybody knows, you can't say, excuse me, can't say you didn't know. So it's enough that he knows the halachas of Tumah, he doesn't know exactly, doesn't have to know that he became Tumah. Mai. Even the other they can make this Lo Yedihi. Similar to what we said yesterday, same kind of shayla. A person knows that there's a concept called sheretz, but he doesn't know how much of the sheretz. Something similar. He knows that there's a Beis HaMikdash somewhere, but he doesn't know exactly where. Is that enough? But he doesn't know where it is, so that's considered a lapse in his awareness. Teiku. You go into the Hazara, and we want to make an expansion, like a lot of people are saying. We need to make an expansion MDY. Last thing I want to do, but they say you need to make an expansion. But not immediately. How do you know they need all these things, a king and a navi and an urim and tumim, etc.? This is how you should do it, and it means l'doros for all generations. When you want to make an expansion to the Beis HaMikdash, to the Hazar, or to Yerushalayim, you need that whole list. What's in the list? So if we take a look here, in red, the first red, the Melech is a king. The first time we made a Mishkan, we had Moshe Rabbeinu, who's the king. The Navi is also Navi. Urim v'tumim, the Chayshin, we had Aaron HaKohen. Sareh Shishim Ve'echad, we had the 71 Skenim. Okay. So it says the Gemara, Mosav Rava, Kol HaKedim Shasa Moshe, Mishichosim Mikat Shasa. How do you make a kli sharis? You have all these vessels in the Beis HaMikdash. How do they become kaddish? A special kedusha that if you put something in them, whatever you put in them, it becomes kaddish. By doing the havodah with them, by using them, the actual usage. By Moshe Rabbeinu is pouring the oil. And from that day on, just using them. So we have two things. We have Meshichas of the Meshicha of the Kli. Yoshi, after going to the 2 o'clock in the morning, he sends it to me. He did a certain thing. He says on the bottom, it's only Lam Chashab Bilvad. In other words, this guy, if you notice, he's not pouring oil into it, he's pouring oil over it. Not this guy. This turns out to be Moshe Rabbeinu. Moshe Rabbeinu is Moshech the Kli. He's pouring oil on. But that's in the generation of Moshe Rabbeinu. From then on, it was only through using the Kli. They didn't have Mashiach anymore. Says Gemara V'amai, V'neim V'chein Tasul L'doros. Wait a minute, we just said it has to be for generations. You need a king, you need a Navi. So maybe you also need what Moshe Rabbeinu had, which is pouring oil on all the Kalim. Why is it enough to just use it? So it says over here, Mekan Ve'elach Avidas Mechan Chasam. What does chinuch mean? What's the translation of chinuch? So Rashi says something interesting. V'chinuch loshan atchala. In Hebrew also, l'chanech mashu. It's to start something off. You start it. So what? Yeah. Chinuch means to start off. So perhaps chinuch is not so much to discipline a child, but to get him going in life. You start him off, you say, okay, this is the derech, and he takes it from there. Rashi says not. You say yes. He's mechulk on Rashi. The Shkoy is mechulk on Rashi. No, I'm just kidding. Vada discipline. How do you get him to start through discipline? No. It says in the pasuk, there's a miyot. It says oisam. Oisam means there is no anointing the kalim with oil after Moshe Rabbeinu. Why? Because it says dafka in the generation of Moshe Rabbeinu oisam those kalim. It's a nice exclusion, but perhaps it just means that in Moshe Rabbeinu's generation, there's only one way to do it. In future generations, there's two ways to do it. You want to use oil, use oil. You don't want to use oil, so do the avodah with it.
What's the Hekudami of the daughters? Since new kalim were made, replacement?
Yeah, of course we have different second base Hamikdash. Of course, that a new kli, everything. Yeah, any new kli that comes into this, one gets ruined, one gets lost, stolen. Amar Papa, Amar Kra, Asher Yisharsu Bam Bakodesh, which is another miyot, because it says in the pasuk, Belachu is klei hashares Asher Yisharsu Bam Bakodesh. If it's a kli shares, that means you already use mishares, you're already using it in the basement. So Yisharsu is like a double lashon here. So we learn Asher Yisharsu is in the future. Asher Yisharsu in future generations. How? By using it. Omar Kra, Sheisharsu Bam Bakodesh, through the avodah they become kadosh and not with oil. By the way, it's a very easy daf today. Serious. This is probably it's not hard right now, but it's like back and forth. Very light daf. If we have this exclusion, this meal to say that the way to be mekadesh and clean the future is through working with it. So then, why do you need a pasuk by Moshe Rabbeinu to say only Moshe Rabbeinu could use oil? We already in this pasuk says the only way you can do it is by the avodah. No. I would think that if it wouldn't say Yosef by Moshe Rabbeinu that only in his generation can use oil, I would think that you must use two ways. There's two steps to get a kli kaddish. First, you have to anoint it with oil, then you work it. After you do the anointment. What are you going to do with the pasuk that you have to do everything Moshe Rabbeinu did? The whole way we know that today you have to use the king and the Sanhedrin and the Tumim and the Navi and it's all from Moshe Rabbeinu. So use the oil also. So that's why I need Mir Rachmana Yisab. Bottom line is, one miyut comes to say no Mashiach. The Mashiach is by Moshe Rabbeinu. Yisab Mashiach, v'lo l'dariz b'Mashiach. Fine, brand new sugya. What do? Part of what's the word I'm looking for? The procession, the procedure. Part of the procedure of enlarging the Beis Hamikdash is you have to bring two taidas. Now, what's a taida? A taida is an animal. You're saying thank you to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. You shech the animal and you bring 40 breads. That's a taida. Yeah, the famous var is why 40 breads? Because when you say thank you to Hashem, you get your friends involved. They all have to eat it. How can you yourself can't eat 40 breads? Make sure your friends know about your simcha, the hatava that HaKadosh Baruch Hu did to you. So when you read the Mishnah, shtei taidos can mean two korbanos. Shtei taidos shamru belachman b'lev b'sar. No. There's no meat involved there. We're talking about two breads. Now, how do I know this? Why two breads? It says taida. Taida means the carbon taida usually means the actual carbon. Why breads? Says the Gemara because it says in the pasuk by Nehemiah when he did the inauguration also. Nehemiah says, I put two large taidos. Now that cannot be referring to an animal, it must be referring to bread. Why? And it says over here, there's a whole procession that went to the right. Which, I'm just pointing this out, this is why my chavrusa learned pshat in the sugya different than I'm learning now. I did tshuva in the beginning, the whole day I was learning like him. He says yamin because we once learned that you go to the yamin of the mizbeach, You go around the mizbeach, but you're making a left really. So that you're walking sideways, and when you walk sideways, always to your right. But so he learned like that also. But it'll be weird to walk around Yerushalayim sideways. Walking like this, walking like a dance. In a chasana, you walk forward. Anyway, so we'll get there. But I'm just pointing out. It says liyamin. This is the one place that says over here to the right. Ayid geht zum rechts. Every time you have a split in the road, you don't know where to go. Automatically you go right. Yeah? The Israelis like this, I'll tell it to you. I don't know if you'll even... There's some Hasidim that don't dance the Hora because it's to the left, especially in Eretz Yisrael. And they said those who were nichshal once in their lifetime that they danced the Hora, so they say, Achet shechotanu lefanecha beritzas raglayim lahora. Mike Doilois, Ilay Mimin Godol Mamish, Neima Parim. If Gdoilos, there's two options here. He brought a toida, and he brought large ones. Large what? Animals. There's another name for a large animal. It's a cow. You don't call him a large animal. Mike Gdoilos, Ilay Mimin Godol Mamish, Neima Parim. Ella, maybe it means Gdoilos Bemina. Like that one sheep I saw in Europe when I went over there for the shchitas. I used to do shchita, and they showed us how do you get all these sheep to go into the not the pen. There's a belt that they go in and it grabs them on the side and then they can't move, and the belt just brings them to the shaychet. A conveyor belt. How do you get them to go on? They don't want to go on a conveyor belt, so they have a sheep that's the size of a horse. He's like 90 years old. He's the largest one. He's the head of everybody. Everybody looks at him. And they bring him. He's tied with a rope, and they bring him through. Once he goes through, everybody follows him, and that's it. And then at the end, they don't check him. They just bring him back around. And this is what he's been in that shlachtos for many, many years.
That is like sheep to the slaughter.
Yeah, sleep to the slaughter. Literally, sleep to the slaughter. Yeah. So maybe you should bring that guy like that sheep. He's like this tall. He's a massive sheep. So Rabbi Yisai, right over here, this is a Mamash Agadata, and this is one of the biggest Yisoidas in Yiddishkeit right here. Remember this forever. You think HaKadosh Baruch Hu cares if it's large or small? But Tanya, the three famous words, and the three exact words are said by an expensive carbon that costs $1,000 and a 25-cent carbon. Same exact words. What does it teach us? The By Hashem, it's all the same. Nemar boilas behema ishay rech nichayach. Boilas oif, when by the bird, it says the same words. By the behema, by the large, you want to bring a cow, you want to bring not a cow, a goat, a sheep, ishay rech nichayach. You want to bring a bird, a little pigeon, ishay rech nichayach. B'mincha, you want to bring some flour, ishay rech nichayach. Because Baruch Hu loves it all. Melamed, and this teaches us she'echod amarba. It doesn't matter how much and how little. As long as you have the right intent. Yiddishkeit is in the head. And if you have the right intent and you think about what you're doing, you don't just do it. You could put on tefillin and you could put on tefillin. It takes literally 1.5 seconds, but that's the difference. When you put it on, you make that, you mahadik, you strap down. You think to yourself, why are you doing it? Because HaKadosh Baruch Hu is mitzvah and I'm doing mitzvah sabayra, boom, that it takes 1.5 seconds. It's a different thing. If you learn 1 hour a day, this is the 1 hour a day you learn Daf Yomi, but you have the right kavana, you get more schar than the guy that learns 14 hours a day and has zero kavana, he has the wrong kavana. The Mishnah Berurah talks about davening. If a person has the option of saying all of Psukei de Zimra, but just to fly through it and not understand the word, or to say a few and understand, he says, it says in the Gemara, very good. That I remember. Rabbi said, here's a video.
To the Mayon Hama'ainim Yeshiva, please.
You do this by Olam Hazeh, because Baruch Hu Masbir Olam Haba, will have unbelievable chef and Olam Haba. Shenema Yirvim Desh Misecha, V'Nachal Adonechot Sashke.
Well done. Do you manage to understand the shir while driving? And doesn't it distract you?
Look, after listening to the same shir 12 times in a row, you pick up something.
12 times?
And as for my driving, you see I'm managing just fine. Oh no!
Welcome. Both of you are granted the 12th floor in Gan Eden for learning 12 hours a day.
What? But how can you compare my steiging to his studying?
Here in Olam HaEmes, each of you reached your maximum according to the abilities granted by HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And we learned Echad HaMarbe ve'Echad HaMamit u'belvad she'echavei liboy l'shamayim.
Very good. In the Hebrew one, those who understand the Hebrew, the guy, I guess, added his own thing. Goes, Echad Amarbe ve'Echad Amavid u'vat she'chaven es richboi liboy l'shamayim. Okay. Anyway, but some Sefer just says a very interesting thing. He says, to explain, he says, if you think about it, if you take all the mitzvahs of the entire world, take 8.5 billion people's mitzvahs, you put them all in one basket for one person giving all those mitzvahs, 8 billion tefillins and learning and everything, and give it to Rebbeinu Shalom, it doesn't pay off your debt. It doesn't give Rebbeinu Shalom what you really owe him. So if you just take it to yourself and you say, okay, here's a bowl of flour. No, you know what? I'll give a pigeon. There's no difference. There's literally no significance to the thing. Obviously, when it comes to mitzvahs, one should be mahadir to give the better one. You get a better lulav, better esrig, a better carbon. Taisus points out, we had just an hour so just a few days ago that it's better when you have a nice paraduma, you redeem it for the better one. There is a concept, but klavi the Rebbeinu Shalom, it's all in the it's what your kavana is, and you get the same schar both ways. Huh?
Not say ktsat b'kavona me'arbe b'lo kavona. It's a different musik. It's a different concept. It's better.
Okay, that we do in Koilel. Right now, with Daf Yomi. Zog the Gemara. Elog, a lot of people think that he's the Rosh Koilel here in the Beis Medrash. Rabbi Yedida Kramer is the Rosh Koilel here. What's the name of your Koilel? Zichron Eliyahu.
10 times the size.
Echad Amarbe. That's why he learns different pshat, because we know Echad Amarbe ve'Echad Amamed uvad shechav elim shamayim, but he has a different pshat, so maybe it's not together.
It's not the quantity, it's the quality.
Exactly. Maybe he has both. But he didn't emphasize the quality. That's the problem. If you would have emphasized the quality, then we would have plus the quantity. You jumped into the quality. Mendy, what's wrong with you? Wow, you're much losing it in your old age. So okay, after everything, it's not an animal because it doesn't matter what size animal. In other words, the Navi wouldn't say, and I brought large animals. If it doesn't make a big difference to the Rebbeinu Shalom, why would he say large? What he meant is, the larger of the breads, since there's 40 breads, 2 of them are massive. They're like 5 pounds each. Versus the half pounders.
What's the difference?
No, I'm telling you, it's a massive difference because those are chametz and those are matzah. I want you to take only from this type. G'daylos, I brought the chametz ones. It's important to know. It's a different type. What's the difference in what? There's four types of breads. Yeah. He brought the large ones. It's a different type of bread. It's a chametz bread versus the matzah bread. The others are matzah.
It's about the size. It's about
what type. They happen to be large. They have to be large. So now you know what type. Here we're going to get into it. Umayniu chametz. What's a large one? Chametz. This is not. Yerushalmis means the new measurements, the modern measurements that they have in Yerushalayim now. Chamesh Sayim. Shem Sheshim is Bariyos. We're not going to go into it and confuse the whole oilam. Here, 5 Yerushalmis are the older 6. They took the 6 measurement, they made it into 5. Shein Shtei Ephos, which adds up to 2 Ephah. You remember Kaskalev, Yagoidu, here, 10, 3, 6, okay. So, the bottom line is, at the end of the day, we're going to have two Evas. Ve'eva shalish sayin. Eva is 3 saw, which is Esrim Isarin. And over here you can see on the bottom, we have 20 Isarin. If you take 2 of these bottles, you have 20 Isarin. It's 3 saw midbaria is 10 Isarin. So in Mela, what do we have here? You take 1 bottle and you make chametz out of it. You see how he did it beautifully? 1 is for matzah, and 1 is for matzah, 1 is for chametz. From the matzah, we're going to make 3 types of matzah: rikikim, revucha, and chales. And the chametz gets a whole bottle just for itself. The memela, they are much larger. That's why today, what do you make a brach on challah? So you have mechalek between Reb Chaim Noah and Chazon Ish. Could you make a brach according to Reb Chaim Noah? It's 1.25 kilo, which is 2.5 pounds or something. And then according to Chazon Ish, it's 2.25 kilo, 2.25 kilo, which is 5 pounds. I think that's what people are making. I know, like 5 pound dough, you make a bracha. Yeah, I know it goes by volume, but like everything else, you have to like make it easier for the people, so you do it in pounds. It's approximate. That's all approximate stuff. So, it's on the matzah. Ubematzah shloisha minim, chalois, rikikin, urevucha. Omer avachama. In Azar miskadesh yisrael b'shiorim mincha. How are you mekadesh? You have an azara, you have an extra part of the azara. How do you do it? How do you make it kaddish? So you do a kmitza. Yoshi worked on this a long time. It's very hard to. It's not what we want, but you get the idea. You put your hand in downwards like that, and whatever's left between your 3 fingers, and you wipe away the flour. Sometimes it has a mind of its own. Okay, so you left with that much. What? No, I don't remember that. Okay, now this thing, whatever you have in here, you put on the mizbeach and you maktir it. That's the carbon. The leftover in the bowl is called shiyare mincha, and from that we make bread, and the kohanim eat it only in the azara, in the Beis Hamikdash. So from the leftover, from that, it's interesting. The Rishonim ask, why is that called leftover? This is leftover. Like, look, you have 95% is still in the bowl, and okay, it's called leftover because that's what's left over from after the kmitza. So, you have to take the leftover flour on the left, make bread out of it, and you bring it up. That's what you're mekadesh the azara. What's so special? So the Gemara is going to tell us what's special about that is that if you take it outside of the azara, it becomes pasul. You need something that becomes pasul when you remove it. When you try to extend Yerushalayim, an extension. That's the word I was looking for before. Extension. You want to extend Yerushalayim. What do we do it with? With the breads of the Torah, which we just discussed, the large breads. Something that you eat in it. The breads you eat in Yerushalayim. So over here, something that you eat in the Azara is Mekadosh. But you could also eat the breads of a regular Torah. Why do you have to eat bread from the leftover of the kmitza, of a mincha? Why can't you do the same? You just use the same bread. So Gemara says, no. The yisoid is, I'm trying to do one thing. I'm looking for something that when you leave that area that you're trying to be Mekadosh, it's possible. It kind of shows, I'm using this to be Mekadosh, because if I go out of this place, I'm going to be possible. So let's think about it. So, if I take the breads of the Torah outside of Yerushalayim, what happens to the breads of the Torah? Here, let me just show you the picture so we know what we're talking about here for a second. These breads, let's call them just l'saber so is 9. These breads are the breads of the Torah. And if I take them out of Yerushalayim, they become possible. I can't eat them anymore. So I use these breads to be mekadesh, that extra area from the wall till the breads becomes part of Yerushalayim. So too, right, the Gemara is going to talk about it. That's at the end of today's daf, which we're not going to get to. So, the first one is a problem, the second one is following behind him. Okay, but yeah, good kasha. He's asking, how do you even get them out? It's yaitza right away. As Gemara, imal alan chametz, afkan chametz. Bomb question. these breads that we're looking at, they look very chametzik to me. These are rebisha breads, chametz. So perhaps the breads that you eat inside the azara, the mincha breads, right? There's toida bread and there's mincha bread. The mincha bread that you mekash azara should also be chametz. This is impossible. But this is where minchas chametz meika. There's no such thing. The Gemara says there is such thing. In a second, we're going to see. But to remember the question, the Gemara says you should use chametz. Why? Because it has to be similar to the toida bread. So the Gemara says no. It says in the pasuk you can't use chametz. You can't have chametz inside the Beis Hamikdash. But maybe the leftover in that bowl could become chametz. No, that you can't either. That what? Even partial, you cannot have the shirayim of the kohen be chametz. So now, let's just say the turning of the daf, Kinnovations LLC in honor of our sons Kalmo and Yisrael for learning Sanhedrin Makas Shevuos with Rebelli. Adar Global, still experts in international financial services, and in honor of the tzaddik whose name we cannot say, who shows us what it means to be a giver and a tzaddik. So says the Gemara, beautiful over here. I don't understand. Who told you to use the mincha bread? And that cannot be, we already established, can't be chametz. Let's use another bread, and it could be chametz, and then everything fits in. What's the other bread? Alam aloi. Says the Ramah Mishnah Brura. They have to buy wheat bread for Shevuos. But anyways, these two breads, shtei halechem, on Shevuos, when usually in the Gemara it says two breads, you have it?
Yes, Mishnah Brura.
Mishnah Brura, he's right. Wow.
The Mishnah says, "Ayin shochit."
The Ramah's Yosef.
The Ramah's Yosef today? Yes. He ruined it. It could have been. We could have said over from the Ramah. Oh, so check this out. Let's see. I threw it in here this morning. Stam Shia. Again, Shevuos is coming up. Mamish any day. On Shevuos, you bring the two breads. The two breads are chametz. So now we have two chametz breads that could be mekah. You want to expand the azara? Use two breads from Shevuos. So we have 5 options the Gemara is going to talk about. When are you building the azara exactly? Option number 1, you built it on Erev Yontif. And you use the two breads of the Shevuos before Yontif. That can't be. Because they don't have Kedusha yet. Erev Yontif, they only get the Kedusha on Yontif when you shech. So let's build the azar. Let's do the expansion before. It takes a few weeks anyway. You know, every good kablan in 3 weeks, 6 weeks. Okay, 6 weeks, and then bring the breads on Yontif. That doesn't work either. It has to be on the time that you're mekadesh. So let's build it on Yontif. No, you can't build on Yontif. So let's build it after Yontif. No, you can't build at night. So let's build it all the way before Yontif. Just leave a tiny piece after, and then we'll do it. So let's see inside. These are the options. So again, but we're trying to use the two breads of Shevuos. It's impossible, says the Gemara. Any way you want to cut it, it's not going to work. Let's build the expansion of the Azara the day before Yontiv and use the breads and be mekadesh it from the day before Me'esmal. The only time they get Gedusha is the breads are Gedushas Damim. You want them to have Kedushas HaGuf, to be Mekadesh. Now, there's a little trick here. Why do you want them to have Kedushas HaGuf? Because we already established, you need to use something that when you go out of the place, it becomes puzzle. It won't become puzzle if it's Kedushas Damim. It only becomes puzzle when it's Kedushas HaGuf. You only get Kedushas HaGuf on Shevuos itself when you shech the Karbanas of Shevuos. So you can't use it on Erev Shevuos. It's not going to work. So build it on Erev Shevuos, and use the two breads on Shevuos and say, oh, it's Kaddish. No. You have to do the Kedusha, it has to be Kaddish. You have to be Kaddish the area that you want to expand on the day that you finish the building. So build it on Yontif. No, ain't binyan mikdash doicha Yontif. Because you're not allowed to build on Yontif. Why? Because it says in the Pasuk, even the Beis Hamikdash has to fear Hashem. You can't build the Beis Hamikdash on Shabbos. This is where the Chavetz Chaim learns, and a lot of Achrayim, I think, say that we are in a Mikdash Mat. Today, a Beis Medrash, a shul, is a Mikdash Mat. Some learn to the point that this pasuk applies to a shul, and therefore it's a deraisa to put a tissue on the floor, to flick something on the floor, to make dirt. And not only that, they say that if you pick up a dirty tissue off the floor, you mekayim a mitzvah mikdash tiro. It could be a deraisa. And the Zayir says, based on this, a talking shul, we're not going to go that far. Okay, it's for a better generation. Simple things like dirt in the shul. You'll see people bend down like Rabbanim, pick up stuff from the floor because of Mikdash Tiro. Says Gemara, you're not allowed to build on Shabbos, on Yontif. So how about Nishbekei lebasar achi? Leave the bread. Leave the bread until after Yontif. Let me see if I did it correctly, or maybe I messed up. Hold on. Oh, Nimna achri Yontif. Yeah, leave the bread to the day after Yontif and do it after Yontif. Why is that not good? Why can't you do that after Yontif?
Because it's nice.
It's what?
It's nice.
No. It's lino.
He's right. He said night.
Oh.
He's right.
No, I think he meant something else, but okay. That's the night something else. That's what he meant. That he meant. Okay, fine, he meant. He doesn't have to know everything. Listen, he's only 12. He said it. You can't leave it overnight. It becomes puzzle. Once it becomes puzzle, it's not good anymore. So build it on Erev Yontif, and leave a tiny bit left over. Leave one nail to knock in. Now, the Kodesh Yoima, there's a Maisa where a Rosh Yeshiva goes to another Rosh Yeshiva and says, I don't understand. How come you always have money, I don't have money? Both have yeshivas. It's not fair. He says, no, you don't know the trick. You have to build a building. If you build a building, people give for they put their names up. He says, yeah, I also built a building. I don't have money. He says, no, that's the problem. You built a building and you finished it. You're never allowed to finish a building. You have to have an opportunity to this. So somebody was here, he says, yeah, his yeshiva, I forgot the name, and even if I knew the name, I can't say it. He says they never put the brick on one side of the building. So they're constantly getting money for the yeshiva. We got to finish the yeshiva. Okay, we finished the yeshiva. So he says, leave a little bit. Build the whole building, just leave one stone missing, and then on Matzah Yontif, you put that stone in, you have the breads, boom. Until Chatzos of the night, it's perfect. No, in Binyan Beis Hamikdash v'Laylo, you can't build at night. And then you'll be able to Mikash right away after Yontif. You can't do it at night. Some say that the Beis Hamikdash, the third Beis Hamikdash, could come down at night. Shenemar v'yoyim hokim Beis Hamikdash says v'yoyim day. V'yoyim akima v'laylo akima. Hilkach lo yefshar. Givaldik. New sugya. Therefore, it's impossible to do. So therefore, what? We're left with the breads of the mincha. Uveshir. One of the things in order to do the expansion, the Beis Hamikdash, you bring musical instruments. Tanur Rabbanon, shir shel toida. Here, we even have a little bit of a picture here. Right over here, you see all these keilim, they come, all the people on the left over here, they have kinoiros, tzaltzalim, great. Tanur Rabbanon, shir shel toida, mizmor l'soida, right? The famous mizmor l'soida we say every day. Mizmor l'soida, here. B'kinoiros, b'nevalim, you use harps and whatever, different, I don't know what they are today. Unevalim, tzaltzalim, and cymbals. Alcohol, pino, on every corner, they play the music. Alcohol, Evan Gdolish Yerushalayim, they stand on all these stones in Yerushalayim. Ba'omer, Arimimcha Hashem Kidli Lisani. When we say this Gemara, we have to say over a few things. The few Yisaidas. Yisaid number one that everybody knows, but we got a Chazer. There's only one part of Shemona Esrei that the Shliach Tzibur, the Chazan, cannot be Moitzi us. And that's why we have to say it ourselves. And that is Moidim. Thank you. No one could be Moitzi someone else with a thank you. And that's why when Rabbi Elyashiv had his surgery, that they flew in the surgeon to Israel, he insisted on learning how to say thank you in English, because he said, I can't tell you to say thank you to him. I have to say thank you myself. I heard a Givaldik Maisa from Shlomo Zalman Auerbach, even if it's not true, it's a great Maisa, but not the Paskin according to it, because it's not written down. The Shlomo Zalman Auerbach once repeated the entire benching. He benched, and then he repeated the whole thing. So somebody said, but it's not Rosh Chodesh, it's not Shabbos. You forgot Ritzei, you forgot, what did you forget? He said, I forgot to have Kavana b'noidelecha. He says, everything else, maybe you could get away with if you didn't have Kavana. But thank you, if you didn't have Kavana by saying thank you, then you didn't say it. I didn't say it. I have to say the whole benching again. So, says
Doesn't sound right.
Doesn't sound right. Okay, but as I said, it's a good story. It's a good musar. You have to say thank you. So okay. What are you saying?
Yeah, really.
Do not paskin based on this. Do not repeat it, because on the second time you're also going to forget. Like the Mishnah Berurah says, or the Ramah says, that in our generation we shouldn't repeat Shemon Esrei, because the second time you probably also won't. Okay, fine. You say Yoshev B'Seiser. Some people call it Negoim, some people call it Pigoim. Why? Because of these two psukim over here. It's called a nega. In other words, we're asking Hakadosh Baruch Hu, don't let the tumah get into the Beis Hamikdash. So you say Yoshev says Eli on these psukim. This has to do because his son Shalom didn't want him to. He wanted to disturb the building of the Beis Hamikdash. Hashem Rabu Tzara Ad Lashem Yeshua Alam Chaber Chesach Sela. New sugya. Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi Omar Luhu Lahanikroy. Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi would say Yoshev Seiser, and then Vegani would go to sleep. Ask the Gemara, how could he say psukim to help him? בעומר Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi, he himself, Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi, who used to say psukim before going to sleep, he himself said, also this rabbi is b'divrei Torah. You're not allowed to heal yourself with Torah. Says the Gemara, he wasn't healing himself, he was just protecting himself. L'hagin shani. Velo ki Omar also, and what do we say that you're not allowed to use psukim for refuah? Dike maka. When there's a maka, when there's a wound, idike maka also v'suloi, you're only not it's only asr, but there's nothing more than asr. There's much worse than asr. Vasnan, we learned where in like Makkas, Sanhedrin. If somebody whispers a pasuk, let's say he says, he goes over a wound and says this pasuk, he loses his olam haba. Now we have to explain it. We already explained. Because over there he spit at it. What happened was this. You remember this picture? Show it to you anyway. Here we go. Check this out. The doctor spits at it, and while he's spitting, he says Shem Hashem. So that's a real bazayin for. Let's do a few more lines because we started late. Let's do a little bit, 4 or 5 lines. It says in the Mishnah that the Bezdin walks. So if we look over here real quickly. Look at the Bezdin. Bezdin, are the Bezdin in front of the breads or behind the breads? It says in the Mishnah that the Bezdin is in front. Here's the psukim. Where did I put them? Wow. Oh, here. Put it in the wrong place. This is the pasuk that we had yesterday on Amud Aleph. I'm putting 2 large breads. And what does it say in pasuk Amud Beis? After the breads went to Sanhedrin. Not before, like the Mishnah says. You got to go back over here. This is what it means in the Mishnah. You should know that the Bezin goes. You should know also that the 2 breads walk. You should just know. But what's the procession? First go the bread and then the Bezin. So we have a machlokes. It's beautiful. Check this chart out. How did the breads go? Some say, not this. No, I don't like this one. We have to do this one. This is one shita. Yeah, this is the shita I'm looking for. Side by side, Rabbi said. They're walking side by side. This is not how my chavrusa likes it. He's going to be very upset that I said pshat like this. He says that they're standing this way, and they walk like that. They shuffle to the side. It didn't make sense to me that people walk like that. I think they walk side by side this way, and also the chitza and the pnimi makes a lot more sense. What does pnimi mean? In this case, you have 2 people holding breads. Which one is the inner? Which one is the outer? The one that's closer to the wall, to the Yerushalayim, is the pnimi. The one that's out. This is another pshat. This pshat, not this one. This one. This pshat is. No, not this one. No. Where is it? Hold on. No, not this one. No. This way. No. I do have it. This. No. This way. Here we go. No, because in the beginning I told you to do it the way Mechavrusal, and then I learned new pshat. I made him crazy at the last minute to change it. So here, this is the pshat, one behind the other. So what's pnimi in this case? The ones that are closer to the bezdin. Okay, here they walk this way. So says the Gemara, Man dam zu keneged zu, Reb Shimon Rabbi, did I say? Reb Chia, Reb Shimon Rabbi, Chad dam zu keneged zu, Chad dam zu achar zu, one behind the other. Man dam zu keneged zu, apnim misachtem mikar v'lchayma. The one that's closer to the wall, like I showed you before. Man dam zu achar zu, but if they're one behind the other, hapnim misachtem mikar v'lebezdin, the one that's closer to the bezdin is considered the inner one. Rabbi Sai, have a wonderful day. Motzei Shabbos at 10 o'clock sharp, meaning 10:07.
Merit the schus of spreading Torah throughout the world. Sponsor a shir today. MDYsponsor.com or sponsor at MDYDaf.com.